Okay, this is where my Raider fandom is coming in because I really like everything that the Chargers have done, but I can't do it, man. Chargers are going to go third, and Raiders are going to go second, okay? I'm going with it, all right? I don't care. What the heck is going on, everybody? It is Jake with Master Football back at it again. Happy Monday. Happy July 5th. Again, I know everybody probably has today off, but hopefully you had a good July 4th weekend. We're still kind of going. I know I don't have today off. I'm videotaping this in the future, but happy July 5th. Hope you had a good July 4th. Everyone, this is Master Football, okay? All your news for all things NFL, all things college football, all things video games, anything related to American football is going to be here. I say American football for all my international fans. I've got like 17 views from Mexico, okay? I'm cultured, all right? I'm getting out there. All right, another thing too, please, everybody, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all of that. I just try to get this channel going. Hopefully I can earn your subscription in that instance. But without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, everybody, this is the last of my division previews. I have done 7 divisions so far, all the way over there with the NFC East, coming all the way back here, ending on the AFC West. So, AFC West, interesting division. So what we got to do in this one, we got to go over a couple of things. We got to go over what happened last year. We got to go over all the teams' biggest losses. We got to go over all the teams' biggest additions. We got to go over the biggest teams' question marks. We got to go over the current betting odds. We're going to go over key games, and then we're going to go over my prediction. Without further ado, let's get into that. All right, everybody, here we are. AFC standings for 2020 to 2021. Okay, the Chiefs won 14-2, losing to the Raiders and then losing to the Chargers at the end of the season. That Chargers loss doesn't really count because they weren't really exactly trying. I think that, Patrick Mahomes didn't even play. Raiders started off solid and then ended not very well. They went 6-2 out on the road and 2-6 at home. So amazing home field advantage there for them. Chargers went 7-9, and then the Broncos finished out at 5-11, losing their last 3. All right, everybody, time for the biggest losses for each of the teams. We started with the Denver Broncos. The biggest loss, this one has such an asterisk around it, but the biggest loss is going to be Juwan James, not necessarily because of the on-field production in 2020 that they're going to miss in 2021, but more so because you're just like, yo, man, he like barely even played for us. We signed him a big old contract. He was out for this year, out for that year. He had a whole bunch of things going. I actually made a video about him previously. You just feel for Juwan James. It was a horrible situation. I think he got injured but wasn't at the team facility, so he doesn't get any sort of compensation for that perspective in that way. So you just feel bad for him, man. But that's a loss. I don't think they're really going to feel it though. I mean, because he just didn't play that much according to that contract. All right, for the Chargers, we're going to go with tight end Hunter Henry. Did very solid for them. A big safety blanket for good old Justin Herbert out there at the quarterback position. But losing a tight end like that, he's a solid guy. Signed that big deal to go and play with the Patriots. So he's going to be out there. He's going to be doing big things there. Loss for them. So for the Chiefs, this is kind of an asterisk because it's not that big of a loss. It is a loss if you watch the Super Bowl because the biggest loss that the Chiefs had was Eric Fisher, left tackle. When he went out of that game, Patrick Mahomes was running for his absolute life. He had to run all over the place. We saw that. That was the first time since before high school that his team that he quarterbacked, Patrick Mahomes' team, did not score an offensive touchdown in a game. That's a shocking stat. But again, they like to play a lot of 5-man protection. 5-man protection, 5 receivers out, 1 quarterback. They like to do a lot of that. They weren't able to do that because their tackles just could not handle the pass rush from the Bucs. So they had to go out and get somebody else. We'll go over that in the additions, but that is a big loss because he had been there for so long, former number 1 overall pick. And for the Raiders, they lose Rodney Hudson. Rodney Hudson was a free agent signing several years ago from the Chiefs. The Chiefs got pretty good offensive linemen. The Chiefs know what they're doing. But Rodney Hudson decided to he was actually going to leave. I think he was upset with a certain situation with the Raiders. He wanted out. He asked for a trade, asked for his release. They decided to trade him to the Arizona Cardinals for a 3rd-round pick. Got something back from that. So, it sucks. They got a little bit of compensation, but anytime you lose a guy, Derek Carr has spoke glowingly about Rodney Hudson, so it's a big loss, especially from the continuity of that quarterback center exchange. All right, everybody, time for the biggest additions for all the team. For the Broncos, Teddy Bridgewater. Okay, it's Teddy Bridgewater. The reason why is because last year the Broncos drafted pretty well on offense. They brought in a lot of secondary help this offseason. They're a really well-run team, and typically the Broncos aren't down for long. They're typically a pretty well-run franchise. But the one thing that they have not been able to figure out is just quarterback. In the last 20 years, they've just been going back and forth and back and forth. What do we do here? What do we do there? So they decided to pick up Teddy Bridgewater. Drew Lock is the guy they picked up out of Missouri a couple of years ago. Drew Lock is insanely talented, has a lot of arm talent, very, very inconsistent. Good old Teddy Bridgewater. He's not super athletic. He's not super nimble. He's not a big time scrambler. He doesn't have a big time arm. He's accurate enough. He's not known for pinpoint amazing accuracy, but he's solid. But what he is he's efficient. And that's what they brought him in for. They're like, listen, we got a good receiver core. We got a good offensive line. We got good running backs, tight ends. We just need somebody to execute the plays. That's why they brought in Teddy Bridgewater. And for the Chargers, they brought in Corey Linsley. So the Chargers last year, their offensive line was absolutely atrocious. So they're like, you know what? Let's just go get an all-pro center from the Packers. Corey Linsley, they let him go to free agency. The Packers did. And now he's available, goes out there to beautiful sunny Southern California, and is going to be blocking for Justin Herbert. So the one area of their team that was really, really weak, they have really, really attacked this offseason, went ahead and got him, got a couple other guys as well. But that is a huge addition. I was thinking Rashawn Slater, but I'm like, you know what, dude, Pro Bowl center, all-pro center, he is the kind of guy you want to get in there for a new quarterback. For the Chiefs, they didn't have a first-round pick this year because they traded it for big ol' Orlando Brown Jr. So Orlando Brown Jr., last year for the Ravens, Ronnie Stanley was the starting left tackle, goes down. Orlando Brown switches over to the left side. Orlando Brown says, hey, I'm only playing left tackle. I only want to play left tackle, even if Ronnie comes back. Like, we might need to save some money here. They trade him for a first-round pick to the Chiefs. So they lose Eric Fisher, their longtime stalwart over there at the left, and they pick Orlando Brown Jr., a big, huge boy. His dad's nickname was Zeus. He is one of the biggest human beings alive. So they're going to have him out there. He is going to do great for them. And for the Raiders, they had several guys to go with. They got a lot of pushback on their first-round pick of Alex Leatherwood. I think that they just wanted to get solid. They wanted to solve right tackle. Got, Colton Miller at the left tackle that they just extended. They want a good right tackle. They want to have those bookend tackles to really solve that for Derek Carr. But I think the biggest addition they have is going to be Trayvon Merrick, safety from TCU that they just played. He's drafted. He's from the second round. But what he's going to do is he's going to go to free safety. He's going to be the single high free safety in this defense. That leaves Jonathan Abram, who was one of the worst coverage safeties in the league. He's going to switch from being the deep free safety to being a strong safety. He was going to be more towards the box, kind of in that short quarter kind of plays. So it's going to open up both for first-round picks. You're going to see a lot more production out of them because they're going to play in a situation where they're more going to be successful. Jonathan Abram wants to get in there. He wants to hit people. Very similar to Jamal Adams, a.k.a. Blitz Boy. My roommate's a Seahawks fan, and he hates that name. But that's what they're going to do. That pick really switches some things around. I was thinking about Yannick Ngakoue just because of pass rush specialty, but I really think that drafting that one safety solves two safety positions because now you don't have players playing out of position. All right, time for the biggest question marks I have. So for the Denver Broncos, who is going to pilot the ship? We all know I've been going over this over and over again. I had a video on Wednesday about my most interesting quarterback battles. Number one was the Denver Broncos because what do you go with? Do you go with the highly talented and inconsistent or the consistent but lacking in talent? Here's the issue with the Denver Broncos is the Panthers got rid of Teddy Bridgewater for the same reason why the Broncos got him, was because they're like, he lacks kind of big plays, but what he is he's very efficient. Denver was over here like, dude, hey, we got plenty of big plays. We just need somebody to execute the plays. So we'll see how they kind of juggle that, but the big question is who is going to be their starting quarterback? For the Chargers, it's going to be, will these new offensive line additions gel? So Rashawn Slater, got Corey Linsley, a couple of the guys in there trying to really solve that offensive line. Their last offensive line last year was absolutely horrendous. If they can get that solved, that was one of the biggest holes in all of the NFL in terms of a horrible units. Like that was one of the worst units we'd ever seen. So if they can solve that and take a lot of pressure off of Justin Herbert obviously has the arm. He's big, he's tall, he's strong, he's fast, he's smart, he's a workaholic, he's borderline like a nerd, which is what you want in a quarterback. So you can tell I'm a Raiders fan and I'm a little worried about that. I don't want the Chargers to be good. I want the Chargers to continue to be bad, but I don't think it's going to last very long. For the Chiefs, the question is have they improved or are they just keeping status quo? I think that they did the same thing that the Rams have been doing the last couple of years. They're like, listen, okay, we need to keep this championship window going. We can draft a guy and develop him for a couple of years, or we can trade our first round pick and get help right now. That's what they went ahead and did. I think that hopefully they don't, create that inflation from in the same way that printing money causes inflation, hopefully trading away first round picks. There's going to be a gap at one point, especially when that $50 million a year contract for Patrick Mahomes kicks in. Won't kick in as bad as you want. They're definitely going to graduate it over some years, but that's my big question for them. Are they just going to continue to keep this thing going, or is it going to come bite them in the butt a couple years later when they're like, all right, Patrick, you're going to have to win all by yourself, just like the Seahawks did with Russell Wilson and a couple other teams. All right, time for the Raiders for their biggest question is, can they get Derek Carr some help? Okay, I feel like every year, everybody always points the finger at Derek Carr, but they're just like, dude, he's the only reason why we're anywhere close to any of these wins, okay? They're like, oh, well, the problem with Derek Carr is he's in the same division with the number 1 quarterback in the NFL, of Patrick Mahomes, and he's the number, 8 to 12, depending upon who you ask. 8 if you actually watch him, and 12 if you don't. But the more so, the thing is like, dude, they just need to get him some help. If they can get him a defense, the best defense he's ever had was 17th. It was 17th. It was a couple years ago, and they didn't do very well. If they can give him, what if they give him a top 10 defense? Can you imagine what the Raiders would be? He doesn't have to go out there and throw 4 touchdowns every game. They need to get him some help. All right, here we go. We got the AFC West betting odds for the division. So I'm going to be honest right now. This is really disrespectful, okay? They absolutely, positively loved Denver's draft, and they absolutely, positively hated the Raiders draft. Now, you think about that right here. Free agency is over here, okay? So this is free agency. This is the draft, okay? They absolutely, positively despise the Raiders draft. That's just disrespectful, okay? They picked a right tackle. It was a need. Sorry that he was a second-round pick. The guy they picked in the second round was a projected first-round pick. Sorry. Rant over, okay? They really, really love what the Broncos did. They like the Broncos more than they like the Chargers. I love the Chargers draft. The Chargers went down. All right, whoever's in Vegas, they know something I don't know. Chiefs saw it at first, so you see right here, minus 293. Denver's plus 450. Chargers plus 600. And Las Vegas at a disrespectful plus 1,700. All right, time for the key games for the 2021 season. So we're going to have 2 games, week 7. First of all, we're going to start off in Thursday Night Football. We got the Broncos visiting the Browns. The reason why I wanted to throw this one on there was because a lot of Broncos are like, yo, dude, we got Teddy B. We had a good draft. You see our Vegas betting odds, we're doing good. If you're good, short week, primetime game at the Browns. The Browns right there were in the divisional round, and they were giving the Chiefs all they could handle. Can you go into Cleveland and actually make them and threaten them and do something like that? So that's their big question. Also in week 7, we have the Chiefs playing at the Titans. The last time the Chiefs went to the Titans, they lost that game. Chiefs don't lose very many games, okay? Last time they were there, they lost that game. I think that's going to be a huge game to see. Are the Titans for real? Or were the Titans a fluke for a couple of years? Do the Chiefs still have it? We're going to see both of those answers in that week. All right, week 14, the Raiders at the Chiefs. I also want to include this one in there because the Raiders, the last time they played at the Chiefs, it was last year. Granted that it was at, what was that, like 10% capacity or whatever. First time that the Raiders had won at the Chiefs in a long time. Went into Arrowhead and won. Week 14, it's going to be cold this time. Last time it was early in the season. It was better weather, but this time it's going to be cold tundra out there for Kansas City. We'll see who's going to be the team that can pull it out. And this is a big one too because week 15, right after that, 4 days later, on Thursday Night Football, they're going to be against the Chargers. The Chiefs will visit LA. Granted, it's going to be good weather, so they're going from the bad weather in Kansas City late in the season to the good weather in that beautiful dome in Los Angeles. So we're going to see, man, are the Chargers, you got to win this game if you want to be real. Okay, you got the Chiefs, short week at home. You got to come in there. You got to surprise them. That's a big game for them. All right, so here's my prediction for the division. Okay, I disagree with Las Vegas. Okay, I think that Denver is going to be the last place team. I know, I'm sorry. I actually like a lot. I like Denver 2 through 53. Okay, I actually really like them. The only deal, I'm just not sure. I mean, you have to remember, the Panthers got rid of Teddy Bridgewater for the exact same reason that the Denver Broncos want him. So in the same way that like the Carolina Panthers have Sam Darnold because they want big plays, even if it's inconsistent. They already have that big play but inconsistent guy in Drew Lock. They want more consistency. I think they're going to try and go through a transition there. They're like, listen, we just want you to execute. We might not have as big of plays as we can have with Teddy Bridgewater, but we want to go ahead and get somebody in there who's more consistent. I'm not so sure about it. I'm putting them at 4th. Chiefs are at 1st. Okay, this is where my Raider fandom is coming in because I really like everything that the Chargers have done, but I can't do it, man. Chargers are going to go 3rd, Raiders are going to go 2nd, okay? I'm going with it, all right? I don't care. Please let me hear your comments. Obviously, agree with me because my predictions are always right, okay, 100% in every way. But anyways, thank you all so much for being here for my division previews. I'm going to have a couple more series coming here and there, but this series is wrapping up. Season is getting close, man. Hope you guys had a good July 4th weekend. New video coming out Wednesday. Thank you all so much, and I will see you guys then.